right, Grand Rising, good day. Welcome to the Peak Wellness Hour. What an honor to be here today because I missed last Saturday for the third week of Women's History Month. And if you all did not see that, I know I got a lot of feedback. I was behind the scenes, I was not feeling well. I got a lot of feedback though. This Queen, Pastor Edith here rocked it. So Queen, I got so many awesome reports from just the message you spent. So if you all did not see that last week at the Peak Wellness Hour, you have got to go back. But this week we are finishing up the month of March with the conversation of the Women's History Month by talking about a sensitive subject, but a necessary subject. So I do want to give a disclaimer, and I will give it again throughout conversation. We do not want to disrupt any emotions, but we are here to heal with the Peak Wellness Hour. So we want you to get your pen and paper. We want you to, this one, we seriously, this is not just a YouTube, Facebook thing. Please like, share, and subscribe. We want you to share this out with someone you may know. I'm not saying a friend or family, someone you may know. Put it on your Facebook page or whatever you're streaming on, because we're going to talk about how 1 in 4 women are abused today. And we're going to go beyond that. So you don't know who you're sending this message out to that may bless someone, even a male that might be in a situation or causing a situation. So make sure you do that. And we'll be right back to start this show. All right, y'all. I can't get this off. I'm sorry. Hold on. How's everybody doing? Hold on. Okay, here we go. All right. So welcome back. Welcome back again. You're tuned into the Peak Wellness Hour. So glad you all are here. We've got Queen Kathy B first in the virtual house. So welcome, Queen Kathy with the United Empires of Akibalon. Hope you are well. I know I started out talking. We're going to dive into this conversation. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let Queen Edith bring us in. Queen.
Greetings. It's our third weekend, I think, on the topic of National Women's Month, which is the month of March, and this is our third or fourth broadcast on issues regarding women. Having said that, we are not saying that men don't go through or don't experience what women experience. They do it in different ways, but our focus this month is on women. The men will have their turn, our kings will have their turn. Today is a very delicate subject. It's very delicate because as we speak right now, a woman is going through something that she cannot speak about. She doesn't feel free to talk about. She's afraid to speak about because of the situation, because of, judgment and many others. But it's a topic we must talk about. More women than you would expect are dealing with it. and don't even recognize it. And when they do, they don't know how to handle it. Violence against women, recognizing it, seeking safety, finding peace, healing, and restoration. We're going to do our best to touch on all of it. If we don't, we don't. We'll try and put resources on our page for you to look at. If you need help, reach out. There is a number we'll share. Reach out to that number. Okay? It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's nothing to be fearful about. Though we all need to exercise caution, but we must speak up. We must speak up. So, wherever you are, like Queen G said, invite a friend, share this video, and let's delve into this very delicate conversation. Welcome to the Peak Wellness Hour, where we bring you knowledge, information, everything regarding your spiritual health, your physical health, your mental health, and everything healthy, including emotional health. Please tune in and let's dig in. Thank you.
Doesn't she bring us in so well? And again, you all, she did a great job last week, so make sure you check that out.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah,
Queen.
it was lovely.
It
Um,
was awkward without you. I've never done this without you, but I managed it. I tried. I need you on this platform. So I'm
you know,
so
though,
glad you're feeling much better today.
I am. Thank you. Yeah, I was so sick. I was so sick last week. And you know what, Queen, it's awkward for me also when I do not have you. So grand rising to everyone coming in the digital building. Um, welcome, welcome, welcome. So yes, Queen Mother, my mom said you did a great job. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Praises to you. So yeah, before we start out, speaking of feeling better, not to harp on, speaking of feeling better, before we started this, Queen Edith asked me, um, what do I do for self-care? Now, you all that have been with us since the beginning, it's been what, 3 years now. We formed this relationship. We have a friendship, we have a sisterhood. Our relationships are on so many different levels. And we talk often, not often enough. We're engaged with one another, but that is something that we do not talk about together as far as what we do for self-care. And I don't think that's the thing that a lot of women talk about. They don't think about that with self. And it's not a discussion. We get our nails done, we're getting our hair done. Someone told me the other day, that's her self-care. Yep. I'm gonna show them real quick. I don't get my nails done. You won't see my hands in the camera a lot. Yeah, I don't get my nails done. I'm a nurse. I got, washing hands and all that stuff. But that's her self-care. Where I would look at it as maybe for me an extra expense, maybe. Somebody might look at it like that. But what is it? What do you need to establish and sustain self-care? And I'm asking that because when it comes to situations of abuse, not just physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, spiritual abuse, financial abuse, where do you find self-care in that? And when we are abused, it is very difficult. That is the lowest on the totem pole, self-care. We're in a survival mode when we're in an abusive situation. Okay, and I'm sure plenty of us can agree that we have been in some kind of abusive situation at least once in our lives. Even at work, somebody is yelling at you, screaming at you because they're an authoritative figure. I don't know what's happening, but someone taking your money. We've been in an abusive situation before, and we're going to talk about a little deeper type of abuse today. But when that happens, where's the self-care? Where's the concept where you've not just been violated in some kind of way? So by the end of this, we're going to try to figure out, we're going to discuss and see if we can find some game plans. This might not apply to you, but again, it may apply to someone that you even know they're going through it? How do we say to ourselves as women, we are worth the safety, we are worth the security, we are worth the freedom to walk down the street, we're worth the freedom to get gas without someone hitting on us at the gas station. Women are afraid to say no to a man, a stranger hitting on them in a gas station because these men are getting violent now. And it's not just one or two of them. They're ganging up on these women in broad daylight. These things are happening. And I don't want this to seem like it's a scare tactic, but these things are really happening. And what I just said, that is bizarre to me. Hey, girl, can I get your number? No, thank you. Or you don't turn around and look, hey, B, you hear me talking to you? And now you're scared to turn around, but you got to turn around because somebody might be coming. These are real pride. And it starts with the things that come out of your mouth. It starts when someone says things. Someone can't call you by your name. Someone can't speak to you without raising their voice. That's a red flag for me. If every time you talk to me, you got to curse me out and storm off and throw stuff, and that is a red flag for me. That is enough to say, how far can this get? Because this behavior right now, way too far for me. And a lot of us have been in situations where it's gone further than that. And it's unbelievable. So, how do you get out of a situation that you know happens, but it could never be you? Because I don't think anybody walks around thinking, now I got a slick mouth sometimes. I don't think I deserve to get popped in my mouth by anybody, really. And if that's how I feel in my home, that I'm talking like that to prompt somebody to put their hands on me, that's a problem. So where do we get to where we find a safe? And that does not happen in my home, by the way. I'm just giving examples. I try to make it personal, so don't say you, and yeah. Okay, so try to. So it's not happening. But if it was, I would like to know that I had a safe space, and I was not afraid to say no or no more and walk away. And a lot of times when those things happen, it's so bewildering. How do we get here? So let's talk about how we get here, how we can get out, and everything in between. Queen.
Wow, Queen. You mentioned some things that are real. A couple of, I think somewhere in November,
Mm-hmm.
I took a trip with my niece, right?
Mm-hmm.
We drove into Canada. We had an auntie niece time, call it family, a little family time, because in our immediate family, where my father, his children, his grandchildren are concerned, we are the only two here in the U.S. So we took this trip, and we were having a conversation, and she shared something that was really very disturbing to me. She said, "What's going on is this." And I have no way of knowing until I had no way of knowing this, but you know how young men and women go to the club and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the club, if a guy approaches you and asks you for your number, if you say no, they'll gang up against you and hurt you. Some people have guns, they'll probably even shoot you. However, so what a lot of these young ladies are doing is they're getting a burner phone. And when they ask for the number, they give the number of that burner phone. And these guys will call you right
Mm-hmm.
there whilst you're standing there. If you give them the wrong number, you are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her, "What do you do?" She says, "Auntie, I am not going to get another phone and pay for it. I'll give you my correct number, but when I leave, I'm going to block you."
Mm-hmm.
So there's violence going on against women all around us. And many of us think that violence is just about hitting somebody, like slapping them, hitting them, whatever, pushing them around.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not only physical, it is emotional. That cold shoulder, that won't talk to you, that won't give you my time and attention because you did something, that I'm not gonna eat your food, the food you cooked. I'm not gonna come home on time. It's emotional. It's financial. It's financial, and yeah, not paying the bills and putting all the responsibilities on you whilst you're doing this, and I don't have money, or maybe I paid one bill and everything else is on you, kind of thing. It's mental, psychological.
Mm-hmm.
They make you look crazy. They make everything you say, they make you feel like you must be crazy. You didn't see this. You're imagining things. They make you question yourself and your what do you call it? And your what do you call it? They make you question yourself. They
Sanity.
make you
Sanity.
and sanity. They make you question your sanity. You're seeing the thing, you're saying it, and they're blatantly denying it when it's really true. They make you question your sanity and second guess yourself at all times. Okay, so these are some of the things we need to look at. It could even be spiritual. It's a shame that I have to say it. I'm a pastor. I love the church. I love Jesus. But we have pastors who will use scripture, in the slave trade era. I watched a movie that they'll use scripture that says slaves must obey their masters at all times, and to the point that you obey even to sexual abuse. Because you're a slave and you have to obey. This is your master wants, you give them. They use Bible, they use spirituality to create violence and abuse you. So today we're gonna get into it. Like we said, we're gonna do as much as you can. We've already have spent what? I mean, our time is 10 to 11. We came on late, but we're gonna go as much as deep as we can, knowing keeping your time in mind, knowing that you have things to do, and you are giving us this time, specially. We're gonna go into it. One way I describe abuse, I take the two word ab and use. Okay, anytime we have something or someone and we don't have a way, we don't know who they are, we don't value them, we don't know what role they can play in our lives to support us, we we use it the wrong way. Let me use I'm using use loosely. So abnormal use of a thing. Okay, you have a wife, but you yourself are not purposeful. You just have a 9 to 5, you go to work, you come back. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but after that, you don't know what you're doing with your life. Okay, you don't have a purpose, you don't have anything. The woman is there, your wife is there, and you don't know how else to. You see, the woman was created as a helper, and you don't know how else to allow her impact your life in ways you yourself are not feeling like you're deserving of that woman. You're not feeling like you're worthy. You're having serious insecurity issues. You are having serious issues with self. And so maybe you're doing all kinds of things, abusing substances, drinking, getting drunk, and all of that. You don't know who the woman is to you anymore. So you begin to use her when you're frustrated. You begin to take advantage of her wrongly. and you take it out, your anger, your frustration on her. That's abuse. Whether you are saying things to her, whether you are, um, um, I don't know how to say this on social media, whether you are forcing her to have sexual intimacy with you, I don't know how else to put it, whether you are depriving her. Some people are saying you can't work, and I'm not gonna give you money. Or every time you go out and come, you call her names because she went out and she's looking nice, and because you feel insecure, another man has talked to her. Or whatever it is your mind is telling you because of your insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
Begin to talk to her like she's nothing. You begin to deprive her of what is rightfully hers. You begin to take advantage of her of her weakness physically. That's abuse.
Mm-hmm.
That's abuse. That's abuse. Not taking this person and making nonsense of her life. You take this person, and very little by little, the actions you take, what you have, the way you treat her, strips her of self to the point that she forgets who she is. It takes a certain kind of woman to overcome it and recover herself again. And I realized that a lot of women in addiction have suffered some kind of abuse, whether from their own parents, mothers and fathers, siblings. Unfortunately, parents, mothers, fathers, siblings, superiors at work, somebody of authority in their life has taken advantage and abused them in ways that no human being should
Mm-hmm.
be abused, should be dealt, should no human being should go through. They end up in finding a way to deal with it, which is wrong, a wrong coping mechanism, which is numbing. And numbing usually takes addiction to numb. So the question is this: how do you even recognize that you are being abused? If you see someone and you suspect abuse, what do you do? What do you say? How do we recognize that? Queen.
Glad you asked. So first I wanted to say, when we talk about these cycles, a lot of women that are abused, it happens before they're 18 in all kinds of different ways, and even you can go with, I don't know, financial abuse, someone, you're young, you're working, and you're dating somebody older, and I'm saying that because I'm saying all types of different abuses. I just want to make that clear. But when we're looking at, seeing that, what that abuse looks like, sometimes it's tricky because when you've dealt with certain things at a young age and there's not a healing process from that, that behavior is not always seen because that's just how she's always been. She's always been withdrawn. She's always been anxious. It always feels like, she's always had low self esteem. So now you're talking about someone that is an adult, 20s, 30s, or older. And that's just been the behavior. But what's really happening is these things have continued to happen, and it's been repetitive and recurring, to where I've been in this situation, um for a long time. I've been conditioned for the situation, and so every time I went out and I can get out, then I'm jumping into a similar situation, because that's all I know, because that's what I feel safe with, because now I don't feel like I'm worthy to have someone that's not going to misuse, mistreat, and abuse me, because everybody else shows me that this is what I deserve. So for some reason, this is what I deserve. And you go through these patterns with these relationships, and the brokenness and those signs are ignored. A lot of times it just looks like you're making bad choices. And I have said before, and a lot of times I'll stick to it. When you're in crappy relationships, I'm not talking about abuse, and you keep getting into crappy relationships outside of abuse, there's an accountability for you. If I keep jumping to one relationship out of another, where men don't respect me, they cheat on me, they lie to me, you know, this is something I'm attracting because I'm not saying no to it. I'm not in opposition to it. So I'm allowing, again, outside of abuse. So I think a lot of times that's what we are seeing, especially with women putting that on other women. Sometimes that's on them. They're always getting into crappy relationships, and the abuse is ignored because that's how you feel about me. So I'm not going to tell you, yes, I keep getting in crappy relationships, but this one is hitting on me. This one, you know, all these crazy things, So I think part of recognizing that is giving grace and mercy. Yes, Queen Sisters, stop normalizing unhealthy behaviors. Yes, yes. And my sister and we had a conversation about that the other day. I'm going to tell her, thank you, sister. I had a revelation behind that, and I'll talk to you about it later. But yeah, so we're talking about signs and symptoms, like I said, that fearful, that anxious kind of behavior. These are signs and symptoms of someone possibly experiencing abuse, okay? To answer Queen Edith's question. Walking on eggshells, when you're withdrawn from loved ones. She always used to come around. Now, we can't even get a hold of her. She doesn't respond to texts. Low self-esteem, self-blame, depression, and PTSD symptoms. A lot of us think that with PTSD, I think a lot of people oftentimes like to equate it to something catastrophic like a war, but we don't see the war that's going on in our own homes, in our own lives, that is literally causing post-traumatic stress syndrome. And so if that's if it equates to war and war heroes, and you don't feel like you qualify to be a survivor in this war called life you're in, then you're not going to talk about those things. So those are some things to look for when it comes to possible abuse. So to answer your question, Queen.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you so much. Yeah, you realize you see a person walking on eggshells when they hear, let's just say you're work, her spouse is coming to, her husband is coming to pick her up, and you see getting to the end of the shift, you're waiting, her husband comes, the way she jumps up and the way she behaves, you can see something changes on in her face. You see, we live in a world where we are so looking into our phones so much. We are not looking at each other, and we are not looking into each other. And that is one of a red flag that the world is living. It's a red flag for the entire world that we are talking, but we are not connecting. We are not looking at the people we are talking to. Because if we look, we will see things. If we look, we will see things. If we ask questions, maybe they'll be confident enough to share. But many of us are so into ourselves, into our phones, into everything else but what is right in front of us. And so I'm encouraging everybody. I want to share this. And I'm going to talk about it as a cultural thing. Um, the culture I come from, and things are probably changing and maybe improving, okay? And especially in relation to the church, and I'm saying this in love, in truth, because I am very much part of the Christian community, of the pastoral community, of the church community. I'm very much part of it. But we need to begin to look well and to critically think, because every time there's a marriage and there's a problem that seems like or sounds like abuse, and the woman reports to the pastor or the head or whoever they answer to, a lot of the time, the first question is, what did you do to be abused? Not, no. There is no reason, nothing is worth you becoming somebody's punching bag, whether it's punching physically, whether it's punching verbally, whether it's punching sexually, whether it's punching financially, whatever punching. I'm using punching figuratively. There is no reason, but the first thing is, are you respecting him? Are you honoring him? Are you talking back? Are you obeying him? Are you submitting him? What are you doing as a woman for him to beat you? And this is the church. This is your pastor. You confide in someone about someone authority, a pastor figure authority, and they turn behind you and go tell your husband. It's become a boys' club. So the woman in the church is not feeling safe enough to even go to her pastor. This is truth. Unfortunately, this is truth, and this is a fact. In about 75% of cases, it's a boys' club situation, and we are not addressing issues as we must. So the pastor's wife is afraid to speak up. She comes to church quietly, but she's hurting. And that is another kind of abuse. It's spiritual, it's physical, it's verbal, it's whatever, so that she feels all the time maybe she's at fault. And it's so important that we find every pastor. I say this, and I say it boldly, every pastor is not a trained counselor. And the women, people are in the church, children are being abused in the home, and nobody's able to talk about it in the church the way it should be talked about, the way it should be addressed. We are hashing everything. A woman's boyfriend is abusing her daughter, and she chooses her boyfriend's side. Queen, you made a strong statement. You said a lot of abuse start under the age of 18. I'm dating someone, he's in my house, he's babysitting my child, and I'm leaving my daughter with her, and she's abused. Or even my son, and they're abusing her, and the woman will tell the child to be quiet and back her boyfriend and pretend it didn't happen. Pretend I did it. I've seen fathers abusing their daughters and sons. Pastors doing it to boys and girls in the church. And it's being hashed. It's being hashed. Abused. We're destroying the fabric, the future of these children way before they become who they're supposed to be. We destroy the integrity of their makeup. They begin to question themselves at a very young age. If you let me read the statistics I have written here. It says 1 in 3 women globally experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. 1 in 3 women. Just think about it. If there are 3,000 women, 1,000 of them from someone they trust. In the United States alone, 1 in 4 women experience severe intimate partner violence. 1 in 4 in the US alone. Says on average, it takes about 7 attempts before a survivor permanently leaves an abusive relationship. 7 attempts. Many cases are never reported due to fear, shame, financial dependence, or concern for children. It affects every culture, every class, every race, and religion. So when we talk about violence against women, it is not only the people who don't go to church. It's happening in the churches. Okay, it's include physical abuse includes hitting, slapping, choking, pushing, throwing objects, preventing medical care, because you know what? If I let you go get medical care, it might come up. Emotional, psychological abuse, constant criticism, humiliation, insults, manipulation, gaslighting, intimidation, which slowly will destroy your confidence and erode you of who you know yourself to be, your identity. Financial abuse controls all the money, prevents you from working, takes your income, ruin your credit, and gives small allowances. Very small allowances, giving you cramps. Basically, all of this, you're getting cramps. Sexual violence includes force, sex coercion, pressure to perform sexual acts, ignoring consent. Even within, the worst is within intimate relationships, or even just going out on dates. Okay, so and I've talked a lot about spiritual abuse. And we need to look out for these things, because it is impacting us in the church. It is impacting us in our relationship. And it's if people have said, why can't she walk away? And I will tell you why she can't walk away. I will tell you eventually why she can't walk away. Because it's not just what's going on in the physical. There's a lot that is interlocked, and it's not easy. It's not easy to walk away from such situations. I see that Queen G posted the phone number. A couple of weeks ago, I went to a bathroom and I saw a sign at the back of the door. If you're going through abuse, call this number. At the back of the bathroom door. Every bathroom door must have it. Must have those numbers. We must display it all around us, in our offices. Okay, when we, and that's one thing I need to incorporate when we welcome a new employee on the employee packet must have it. Must have it. They may not want to talk to me or somebody but in case you're experiencing abuse, call this number. Call this number, Queen.
Ooh, you laid it down, Queen. Yes, these numbers are here for you, and we'll keep posting those throughout the conversation. I like how some of them have texting. I'll say this, in these situations, I can't imagine how scary it is to live with that day in and day out. And I respect the sensitivity of the situation for anyone that has. I have been hit one good time in my face at work by a man that I was dating in broad daylight. And that was just about enough for me. Um, so, and that was catastrophic. So I can't imagine being in a situation like that. But I want to encourage you all, if that is something you're dealing with, make sure that you can, on your phones, hit that emergency button. If you can't, how if your phone's locked, you can still call out emergency number and call 911, and just put the phone down, leave the phone down. The numbers on the screen, some of them where you can text that information if you're needing help. maybe set something up. I know there's automated text, somebody's calling and I can hit, can't talk right now, call me back, just hit a button and it just sends it the automated messages. If you're dealing with domestic violence situations like that, it might not be a bad idea to have these numbers on hand and text pertinent information, help in your phone, help in your address, help, please call for help in your address. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm just thinking about some things. Queen, you said something earlier about the situations where, if you're giving someone your number and getting the burner phone or going ahead and giving that number there, then and there, and then block them. This is what I want to, and I'm going to speak to the younger crowd now that likes to play around on social media and post everything and where you're at and where you're going and what time you're getting home, all these things. I want you all to be very careful with that because we are growing as far as the people that tune into us. But I know people that are no different than I am, and we'll be out and they'll say, "Hey, I know you from your posts. I know you from," and you don't know who's watching you. Okay. So when you're posting online, think about safety because cyberbullying that is abuse also. Stalking is abuse. There have been stories of celebrities, and I'm saying celebrities because it happens to everyday people and we don't hear about it. But celebrities that have lost their lives, men and women, from stalkers. You don't know these people. You're invading their houses and their privacy, and they're deranged. So when you're doing that, you may not be giving somebody, you might be giving somebody your number and blocking them. But if you're sharing, if you're clicking at the club and sharing your posts and stuff with this individual, and now you're Facebook friends, right? They know where you're at. They know you're going to Maggiano's this weekend. They know you're going out of town, you're dropping the kids off, and you're going to work at XYZ. We have got to be as fun as it wants to seem with the access at our hands with social media. It is a very dangerous game when it comes to women protecting themselves. Okay. All this, I don't even say having it, nudity online. These young women, half naked, you're just naked. Okay. There's not enough skin, there's not enough clothing to call it anything else. You just accidentally, something just fell on you here, like you're naked. And it's sexy till it's not. It's cute till it's not. It's attractive till it's not. Because beautiful people, Instagram models, they wind up in body bags too. They wind up in shelters too. They wind up with black eyes too. Somehow we've gotten accustomed to watching people unaliving folks on social media. This is where people's minds are. People are telling you where they're at. They have no problem clicking a live button as we done. We're so glad you tuned into us and not something crazy. But somebody somewhere is clicking a live to take a life.
And people are watching. And people are amused by it. The kind of things that we gravitate toward. It tells a lot about who we have become.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's why you said with the cultural thing and the mindset that this thing stays in these walls, whether it's her home, church, school, wherever it is. This thing stays in these walls. That's a very dangerous game. There doesn't seem to be safety out there for that. So yeah, you're gonna say something.
I don't know why there's so much in me, and I have to say, like the church situation. You go to the church, you report, and then you are looked down, or you are looked at as you are at fault. You did something wrong. Whilst you're facing abuse at home, the church, by shushing it and not dealing with it and literally seeming like siding with the other person, the church itself tends to be abusing you yourself, by their behavior, by their silence. That silent treatment, when you have an issue where you want it to be dealt with fully, and then they do nothing and make you look bad, that you are the one doing something wrong. It's in my heart, and I have to say it. I just want us to look at a few red flags of an abusive relationship. Number
Hold
one.
on, hold on, hold on. Before you do that, because I want to say this.
Yes, ma'am.
When we say that, I just want to go one step further with this because this is crucial here. It's one thing within the church. I don't care what denomination I don't care what religion, because it's across the board. It's not just that we're saying not the same thing. What I want some of y'all to stop doing in these churches, and y'all know who y'all are. And if it ain't you, you go tell who it is right now. And if you don't want to tell them, send them this video and tell them to start right here at the 47-minute mark. Okay. You tell them this. What you won't do is keep amening and hallelujah. And we're standing behind this pervert in this pulpit. That's what you won't keep doing. Oh, well, man of God, we're just going to keep praying for you. We're just going to trust him and let God take care of it. God done took care of it. These kids are saying this stuff. And now it's out. But you won't pray for the kids. You won't pray for the victims. You won't pray for the women. That's what you stop doing. It's amen and a high fiving God in unison and covenant with these perverts. What you should do is just shut your mouth because you don't know. And if you don't know, you don't know. But don't validate someone that's being accused of something heinous, like not my man of God, not my woman of God. Don't you dare fix your mouth ever to say that. When there are victims coming out addressing these things, and it's scary enough because they know some of y'all going to say it anyways. So that is all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to read this comment and I'm going to let Queen go on what she was saying. Is it Women's History Month? But it is Women's History Month, but we also have to educate our young men on abuse. Absolutely. Absolutely. Unhealthy, controlling behaviors and over-sexualizing women. Absolutely. Yes, Queen Sister. Shout out to Crystal S. Thomas and Realty. Check her out. Exactly. That's why I said earlier, you all invite men, because men are being abused too. Invite men to understand the severity of what this looks like. Okay, so yes, I certainly agree with you, Queen Sister. Thank you for sharing that. That is so important. We have got to educate one another and not be afraid to have these conversations because it's going to come full circle. And I don't want my son's married and, my daughter-in-law's coming telling me my boys are beating up, my men are beating up on their women. But some of them say, not my baby boy. No, that's a grown man that you raised, beating on women. So yes, sorry to get passionate about that. There is no leniency for abuse and hurt and harming people in any way, shape, or fashion. None. So I'm not apologizing.
Go and pray, go and submit, go and be disrespectful, but Lord have mercy. I'm a pastor and I pastor a church and I love Jesus. And truth be told, that the boys club must be over. If you can't confide in the person who is your spiritual leader and trust sound counseling and trust that the situation will be properly handled and if need be referred to a professional, but the moment you go report, then we go and we make you look bad, then we have a problem ourselves. Number two, what Queen Crystal said is very true. It took the boys we raised to become the abusive men. Boys are being abused. I'm not going to say it, but because that's why I said this in the beginning. This is National Women's Month, so the focus is on the girl child, is on the woman. Does not mean men don't go through it as well. And I want to make that very clear, that we are not saying men don't go through it. Men do too. Men do, and I have so many examples. So, but we are talking about women, but it's important that as we're raising our children at home, and that's why the home environment is so important. In the beginning, Queen G said something, what we have known. We saw mom endure it. Okay, we saw that do it some mom. So that's what we know, and we tend to look for men that look like our fathers. Okay, and if we don't take care, we become our mothers who have endured. But why?
Mhm.
And that's all we know. So and that's where I don't want to go back to the body keeps the score, but you read that book and you will learn the power of the mind, the brain, the soul. That it's so powerful, and it leads us. So we see the same operations in different men, but the same operations, the same things we are attracted to. But I wanted to go into some of the red flags. The first thing, extreme jealousy. You can't talk to a friend. You just can't be yourself around them. Extreme jealousy. Every I've been gone so long and I just came home today. Do you have to talk to that person? Do you have to do this? Why can't you spend that time with me? Why do you have to go here? It means that my life must stop because you came home. Extreme jealousy. Everybody at the workplace, you doing something with. Everybody you talk to, you're talking about them. It never ends. Extreme jealousy. It may feel cute that somebody loves you so much that they're jealous, but extreme jealousy, where you can't be you. Everything has to be catered towards them, controlling you. Well, controlling you? Controlling what you eat, where you go, what you drink, who you talk to, who you can't talk to, why you don't need that job. For me, the biggest one is isolation. They take you away from everything you know, your community, your circle. They try to isolate you from family and friends. Isolate you, then it's you and I. We are married, it's you and me. I know they are your sister, but it's you and me first. It's you and me, it's you and me. Yeah, it's you and I. But we belong to a community and we must know how to balance the relationship. But no, they isolate you. That is, for me, that is the most dangerous. Constant critic. You are never enough. You never do enough. There's something wrong with everything. The very thing they used to praise you about suddenly has become a point of criticism and humiliation and blame. Everything is your fault. When they do something, it is your fault. It is because you did that. That's why they're doing that. Oh, I didn't do anything. You did it. Constant blaming. Always threatening and intimidating you. And suddenly, all this rapid escalation of anger. The little thing suddenly becomes such a huge deal. And every time you open your mouth, you're shushed. Can even the neglect, you neglect their life. They won't even listen to you. Your feelings don't matter. Your thoughts don't matter. Those are serious red flags. Are you experiencing those things? Queen. Queen. Are you muted? I
Okay,
love
I'm
you.
talking to
I love
myself.
you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Here's what's going on real quick, y'all. So if y'all see me looking around and moving around, I'm trying to make sure on all these devices I'm following everything and putting everything together. So I'm paying attention, y'all, and I do mute so y'all don't hear the clicking. I am so sorry. So I was gonna say one more thing with what you just said, Queen, and excellent the way you laid that out. Talking about the pattern in the cycle of abuse. It was four things. So it starts out with tension building, like Queen has said, isolating, gaslighting, as we all like to say now, the jealousy, the controlling behavior. It starts out with tension building, and to lead up to the incident, which is the abuse in whatever form it is, followed by reconciliation or that honeymoon phase. Where, honey, and that's where it comes, honey, I didn't mean to do it. I love you. Here's the jewelry. Here's the flowers. Here's the, and then everything just kind of calms down and it starts all over again. So if you are in any kind of abusive situation, I want to encourage you to watch for that. Okay. When that tension builds up, something's coming. And there's always going to be a Band-Aid on a bullet hole to calm things down in that storm dealing with abuse. Okay. There is a way out. And I don't know what that way looks like for you, but it starts with getting help. It starts with reaching out and finding strong support. And sometimes before you have that conversation with somebody trusted, I don't care who it is, a pastor, a therapist, a counselor, whatever it is, sometimes you just need to call 911. Okay. Stop we can't always try to work things out that are literally costing us our lives.
Especially if it's become a long-standing pattern, like you said.
Yeah. Definitely get the counseling, get the healing. Definitely get that. Okay. Call 911 and call your therapist right after, but make sure you get to a safe place and a safe space. And when I say safe, it's not for the moment. For the moment, yes, but have that provision to live a safe life. If you're going through this thing, again, it's not shameful. It's not embarrassing. I'm sure it is. I'm sure I won't take away how you feel about that, but don't let that shame and that embarrassment, that guilt, whatever is been put on you to prevent you from breaking free from any kind of bondage. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let Queen end this out. I think we've been so deep this month. We've been deep all since the beginning of the year. Maybe we'll lighten it up. Oh, we got April showers coming for some Mayflowers. I think in April, we're going to make it rain with some positivity. And we're going to take all these past 3 months and we are going to just soak it up. We're just going to plant these seeds and we're going to grow harvest. We're going to grow plentiful harvest based off of what we plant. And what we've tried to do is water the seeds that we've offered. We want to flourish together with you all. We want to flourish, but we enjoy the unity. We enjoy the connection that we have with you all, even moving forward. New faces. We enjoy the new concepts. We are looking forward to that. But this conversation had to be had because there's so much going on in the world and we want to see you all well. We want to be well. And we are here for that. The Peak Wellness Hour is here for that, for your mind, body, spirit, and your overall wealth. So, and wealth begins with you. You are worthy and you are valuable and you're worth it. Okay. You're worth it. So I will leave with that. I promise I won't say anything. I did apologize for getting passionate. I'm going to retract that apology because I am very passionate when it comes to empowerment and safety, and liberty and freedom in your mind, body, spirit, soul, all that good stuff. So you all just be well. I'm gonna let Queen Lady Pastor Edith, therapist, counselor, everything, entrepreneur. I'm gonna let her take us out with her beautiful words of wisdom. And support and love, Queen.
I love you too, right?
Thank you.
And picking back on what Queen G just said, she said, find a place of safety. So who is your safety net? That's something I'd like you to make a list of. Who do you feel safe with? You may not be able to reach your therapist at the time you need them most. Who do you feel safe with? We need to have that network. Have a place of safety. Have a person or 3 people of safety outside of the professional safety network. Who do you feel? It could be a mom, it could be a grandmother, it could be a pastor, it could be a colleague, it could be somebody you know cares about you, a very good friend of yours. Who do you feel safe with? Have that list. Okay? Learn to recognize the patterns. And if it leaves you so drained all the time, that is your body telling you this is a very uncomfortable situation. Okay, there's a lot we could talk about in this thing, but it's going to come up from time to time and we're going to discuss it because it's important. Women's health is part of safety, your health, the environment you're in, your ability to thrive and to prosper and become all that you were born to be is dependent on the environment you are in. If you're in a violent or abusive relationship, you can't prosper because you are always in a fight or flight mode. You're always walking around eggshells. So please recognize the patterns. Know who your safety net is and get help as much as possible. Run with no money, run barefooted. I promise you, your life is worth living. Okay? And I'll say this, violence against women is not only a private issue, it's a community thing. It doesn't affect just the family, it affects the entire community. You and I have a role to play in creating safer homes, safer community, and healthy relationships. When women are safe, families are stronger. When families are strong, communities flourish. And every woman deserves to live a life free from fear, where they can have peace and thrive. Never be afraid to ask for help. You may feel shame, but it is not a shameful situation. It is a life preservation situation. Preserve your life so your children will continue to have. If you have no children, preserve your life so you will live the life of purpose. You matter. Live to tell your story, because then another girl will not have to walk that journey looking at life from your lenses. We pray, I pray in the name of Jesus, that you never have to feel like you have to be in a situation that can take your life physically and spiritually. God bless you so much until we come your way next time. This is the Peak Wellness Hour. God bless you.
Peace.